Now we're going live. Hey, don't worry, because the post-production is going to be crazy anyway. So when they catch it, let's see. Done. Redirecting. All right. Come through. Where we at? It looks like we are now streaming live on Facebook. We just switched over to Zoom. E is in the building. Eric McLoyd. We got Marilyn the chef.
I am here.
Okay. All right. We made it through. Eric, you almost gave up on us, E. I wouldn't let you do it.
Man, I was hot, man. I don't like these technical difficulties.
Me either.
Yes.
But we still gonna make it happen. We are here. We got Marilyn the chef in the house, in the building. What's going on?
Hey.
It's Sunday. I'm flowing, managing.
And you in Brooklyn right now?
Brooklyn.
We're gonna put it right in there.
So Marilyn, I want to give you a nice introduction, and then you can add on to it so we can let the people know who you be. And we're gonna blast off into our topic. So we got Marilyn here. She is a native New Yorker. And I want to tell the people, I want to talk about how I became aware of Marilyn. So my lady Betty is also a New Yorker, and she had been telling me for some time, like, yo, you need to have Marilyn on your show. I'm like, who is Marilyn? She was like, nah, I'm telling you, like, Marilyn, she has a lot of energy and she's strong. And so whenever me and Betty say somebody is strong, like, I know exactly what she means. She means somebody that has a lot of energy, but is really firm in their convictions. And so I started paying attention to you. And so I know that you are a mother, you are a chef, you are a speaker, you are the owner of Divine Appetite LLC, which you are selling herb-based products called Marilyn the Chef. Yes. So I've been checking you out on Instagram with those videos, and we definitely want to hear more about that. And I think if I have this right, you also do a healthy and civic cooking class in New York public school system, and also you offer a certificate to people. Okay.
Yes.
Add on to that. Let us know a little more about who you are.
Okay, I'm also a dynamic Black woman from the BX, Bronx, born and raised. Some good yum comes out of the Bronx every day. You know what I mean? I gotta rep because when people ask my culture, because I'm pure American, I'm a 4th generation New Yorker. You know what I mean? I have to rep. My culture is the Bronx. That's my culture.
Let me look. Let me get that to you. Let me get that. Drop the bomb on that. Let me drop the bomb on that.
That's where I learned how to respect my elders. That's where I learned how to support my community. That's where I learned how to strive and never die. You know what I mean? How to hold your people down. That's how I learned not to be a cutthroat, ratchet behind. Yeah. You know, that's where I learned. And I just want to rep the Bronx because, it being the poorest congressional district in the nation, we don't get the love we deserve. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to give a shout out.
There you go.
And,
Come on.
Yeah, that is what I do. The certificate program is called the Food Educators Certificate Program, and I teach that to adults, usually residential council. Like a lot of housing programs have a resident council where the residents sit on the board of the nonprofit, or they have their committees within the buildings. And a particular organization I work for, Banana Kelly Community Association, they have gardens behind their buildings in the South Bronx, which are super dope. So I train their garden leaders and their resident council. And then at the end of the program, they get their New York City food protectors license. They're able to pass the test from our training at Divine Appetite. So this is a great experience for me because I also teach youth about entrepreneurship and that you can really indulge and gain all that cash money, but also directing your business toward your community. Like I work with my community 100% and I make money. You know what I mean? I have contracts with real numbers on them. It's not a game. It's not like something I'm a vision, because people shrink us. When a Black woman walk in the building, I have been called like, is that your price? Because I know you're a freelancer. No, when you sent the emails, shorty, you knew I was the CEO, but now I'm a freelancer because you want to bring my price down. Now sit your behind down. I'm still the CEO. And so that's what I like to bring to classrooms with the healthy and civic cooking class, because I teach them culinary skills. I teach them botany, ecology, learning how to eat locally, understanding a plant and the purpose of eating it. Don't just eat it because you want to get your sexy on, because there's middle schoolers who will focus on belly fat. You know what I mean? That's the world we live in. They're focusing on, I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks, instead of focusing on their long-term health, making sure they menstruate properly, make sure a young 13-year-old boy's hormones are balanced, because no one even tells a boy that he has hormones, you know, and that is very important to them. But also keeping them civically engaged by teaching them to create a food justice initiative, which I have created multiple times with council members, with the borough president of Manhattan, Gail Brewer, with different assembly people, the students, and I come up with a plan that impacts their direct community. And then we go show up like, hey, listen to us. Because there's, for me, the impact that I'm trying to do with this whole thing is like, we fight. Like, I'm a parent. You will fight on a list, especially in New York City, in this bougie behind city that's very, very poor, but bougie. You know what I mean? They don't care about, it's a lot of food apartheid, lack of access because of your race, right? But we bougie. So you want our kids to go to these, get on a list for these top schools and compete and fight big state exams, A's. And we still have no economic, social, or political power after you got 3 degrees. I got a master's, I got a PhD, and you got no power. You nobody. Right. All you could help is you and your family and pay your mortgage, and you got good credit, but who you helping? What kind of legacy are you leaving? Okay, I'm glad you got good credit. I'm glad you got life insurance. You want me to applaud you? But like, who you fed this week? You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm trying to do.
That's a good point.
Let's go ahead, Eric. Go ahead, because Maryland is coming in hot. Maryland.
Yeah. I'm glad that's that energy that we wanted. I have so many things that I want to talk to you about what you just said. So first and foremost, and this is on a minor scale, I want to talk to you about this word bougie that you use, right? Because I've been talking to a lot of different people, and I realized that we all have a different meaning when we say that word. So you said New Yorkers are bougie. What did you mean by that when you said that?
Okay, I grew up in the Bronx, right? I look at pictures of when I was young, like it was a horrible neighborhood. But when I lived in that neighborhood, I did not know that neighborhood was horrible. Like all the buildings had graffiti, there was crack lines. I did not see that. I was cute. I went to Catholic school. I was fly. My hair was done every Friday at the salon, wash and set, cute, brand new sneakers, went on vacation every summer. But I lived in the pure hood where the boys would be like, yo, they about to shoot up, go in the building, come out in about a half hour, don't come back out, yo. And we would run in the building and it would be normal. We sitting in the hallway laughing, talking while the guns are flying. And then we come back outside. Like, that's bouginess. Like, because we were cute. Right. We were fly. We wasn't walking around like how the news, like and I'm not saying it's not kids who don't have no clothes, but in New York City, even if you are in severe poverty, you have to maintain this vanity of being cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go outside looking, first of all, we talking about Generation X. I don't know about this new generation, because they go outside with bonnets and stuff, and I ain't gonna knock nobody, so I don't want no millennials and younger people to beat me up, but I'm just saying they be going outside to the whole Target with a bonnet, and in our generation, we couldn't do stuff like that.
Couldn't do it. Especially on the East Coast. I mean, you could not do it at all.
No.
You just couldn't do it. Your whole legacy would be tarnished. You did that. You know what I mean? Was it like that when you were?
You know, there was some areas, some areas of the city, it was not, it was advised against, in some areas of the city where it was acceptable, straight up. That's where that whole Southside, Westside get into it. Westsiders think the Southside is bougie. Southsiders think the Westside is ghetto. And so but nah. Yes, but no. Marilyn, I want to ask you, when growing up in the Bronx, and you use the term poverty, were you poor?
Probably on paper, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna sit here because all the people I grew up with were like, if that chick don't stop lying, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. I went on vacation every summer.
I went on vacation every summer.
And people who were poor, people who were poor didn't do that in the Bronx. You didn't go away to Disney World. You didn't go to Texas. You didn't go to Kansas. You didn't go with family. You didn't go to Catholic school and private school that cost your parents $400 or $500 a month back then. That's not what happened if you were in extreme poverty. I was able to have access to that, even though we had food stamps coming in our house, but we was like it was like the community I live in right now. I live in Brooklyn. I live in a Hasidic Jewish community. They are a high population of food stamp receivers, and I'm not knocking a culture, but they are fly. They also own buildings at the same time. So I figured like it was similar to that. Like my parents don't own no buildings, but they stayed in the hood so that I could have access to other things. If they wouldn't have been able to buy a house and pay a mortgage and also send me to private school. So it was like, stay in the hood. We good here. This our people's anyway. Yeah. And at least I could send my kids and offer them a better environment.
I wonder if that was even feeding into that poverty mindset. Like could your people have moved to a better community, but decided to stay there maybe because of and I'm not here judging your people.
No,
at all. Your parents who raised you.
I'm not scared.
I'm just wondering.
It's fact. No, absolutely. My mother did not want to leave the hood. In my building, my uncle was a super. My grandmother lived downstairs. My great grandmother lived on the second floor. My aunt lived on the other side of the building. So she had all eyes. They took care of each other's kids. They fed each other. And my dad wanted to move. We actually used to go house shopping. And so for a lot of my middle school years, I didn't like my mother because I felt like she was she sent me to a school that taught me that the hood was horrible, because we can get into education another way. But then she kept me in the hood. So the school had me looking at my mother like, you whack, even though she was paying my tuition. You know what I'm saying? So it was a mixed mindset, and it was not good. Because I didn't look at my Black people with a bright eye until I got older because of it. Because when they expose you to this and you're learning every day that where you live is scary and hurry up and get out and those people are bad, but they're your family at the same time, you know what I mean? And then your mom has access to move, but now that I'm a mother, I wish my sisters lived next door and my grandmother was downstairs. Yeah. It matters. And I know what she was focusing on, her mental health and her sanity more than moving on up and being 100% by herself with her kids.
You know what? That's a good point. Wow. Like I look at it like this too. So like Scott was talking about in Chicago, the difference between the South Side and the West Side. So most of my family is from the West Side. And I'll say this, I like the South Side, but I feel more comfortable personally on the West Side. And to your point, it's like, sometimes we can move and all that, but if you move, I feel like you like where I live now, we live in the suburbs, there's no real soul. Like I can't really feel the environment like I could if I was on the South Side, or especially on the West Side. If I'm on the West, I can go to the West Side right now and feel right at home. But if you talk to people, they're like, the West Side is the worst place in the world. You'll get killed and all that. And I mean, maybe for some people, it is the worst place in the world, but for other people, they feel at home there. So I don't know, like when you talk about your mother, she could have been, some people might say she had a poverty mindset. I might just say she wanted to stay connected to her culture, what she felt like her culture was. I don't see anything wrong with that.
She absolutely did. My mom doesn't have a huge education, and to this day, I'm like, my store's doing well. What else would your store be doing? What else would your store be doing? It only could be doing well. You know, when I was going through divorce, he's stressing me out. I don't think I'm gonna be able to speak at this event. Oh, so people gonna hold you down when you were born to succeed? This is how a woman who doesn't even have a high school diploma thinks. Right. So society will instantly say she has a poverty mindset, that she's ignorant. And in some ways, she may be ignorant to certain knowledges that other people don't have. But I know people who have degrees that hate on their own kids. and don't even want to see their kids to grow past them. So it's about emotional intelligence, and it's about inner growth as a human being. That really takes you to the next level, that you can live in extreme poverty, have no education or access, and give your kids 100% of that and more. You know what I mean? And so my mom has both sides. My mom is hood. She will never come on here and be like, I'm she will like and not care, but her kids is fly. And that's what matters. She's like, but my kids is fly. Your kids ain't as fly as my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me jump in and ask you this question, the topic of today. Marilyn, were you in the streets protesting during the civil unrest this spring in this country, in New York? Were you in the streets protesting?
Yes, and to an extent. To an extent, I was.
Now, were you out there holding signs, marching with the people, yelling at the police?
Oh, I don't yell at police because I'm from the Bronx, so I don't yell at police. I'm on the Democratic county committee. I'm on the police council. You know, I do stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm not slow.
Okay.
I don't yell at police, but I definitely was protesting to some extent, and definitely being rallying up the humans. And because I was protesting in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is very different now. And where I live, there's a different kind of protesters that come out to shine a light on the Negroes. We're here for you. And I don't care who gets mad at me, because I'm gonna give you an example since we want to talk about a protest. So I'm at the protest. I'm standing with another Generation Xer, and these nice little young ladies jumping. Oh, we're gonna stand here and jump in front of us. Okay. And I'm like, you know, I'm already like, because I'm grown. So I'm like, okay. And this young man is like, I F these mother effing police. F them, I hate them. A young white man. And so I look at my friend, and she's looking at me like, Marilyn, behave. She gave me that look, the Black woman look. Like, and I'm like, nah, not today. I said, so why you hate the police? And he just looks at me, you know, aren't you angry? I said, no, I want to know why you're angry. Tell me, I want to hear why you're so angry that you're spitting and cussing and might cause for only the Black people in this crowd to die. I just want to know why you're doing that. What are you angry about? Well, because of the injustice. And I said, has your family ever caused injustice? Has any of your ancestors caused injustice? Have you looked into that? Are you mad about that? That your ancestors may have caused injustice against a Black woman, may have sodomized a Black man or a Black woman at once. And he's looking at me. I said, oh, does those words scare you? Why are you at a protest then? Does that scare you? Rape, harsh sentences for spitting on floors. That scares you? Why are you at a protest, my man? Like, why are you here if you really don't want to get to the root at why we even here to begin with? And now you're provoking the exact people who are sent to kill my young men. Okay? So I'm just concerned because if another Black boy stands right next to you, a Black young man your age stands right next to you, and your voice is being projected, they may only see him and put a bullet in his head, and you will go home. So I'm just asking you, why are you mad? Right?
And Marilyn, that gets to something I wanted us to talk about, to that anecdote. Like, when we say the word, so I tell people sometimes, I used to study Scientology, and I know Scientology has a very interesting reputation. It's not usually not good, right? Like, it's just super crazy and bugged out. But I learned a lot while I was there. And one thing I learned from them is like really paying attention to words. So when you hear the word protest, because you were asking, dude, like, what are you protesting? Why are you out here? Like, when you hear the word protest, what does that word even mean to you? What does that word mean?
Yeah.
To me, protesting is me saying, I resist. I resist this bureaucracy. I resist these policies and procedures that are held against me. I resist. I don't resist just that someone got shot, because I'm from the Bronx in the 1980s. And I know a lot of brothers who were great and they never make it to the news. I know a lot of people whose apartments got kicked in. They never did nothing wrong. It was actually the apartment upstairs, and they killed and massacred a whole family, and it never made it to the news. I can name names in my head right now of women who lost their babies because their house got shut up because it was a wrong apartment and it never made it to the news. That's not me not shining a light on the one person we want to amplify right now. It's telling you I ain't here for one person. I'm here because this is a lifelong thing that I keep saying my entire life, and I'm tired. I have a 90-year-old grandmother said, y'all out in that street yelling still? She said, y'all still yelling for being black? You don't know you black? You don't know they don't like you by now? She's like, well, goddamn, I'm going to die a slave still? We still ain't free? She's 90, was born in this New York City where I have to go get a minority certificate to get my business seen in a city where my 90-year-old grandmother was born. Why am I'm not protest? It's a resistance. It's where's my reparations? Come on. Man, listen, that's what it means to me. I want to say, mueva de mira estúpidos. Y'all don't have no damn sense. Y'all sit here and yell and scream, but you see no change. And I'm a purebred Scorpio. If I do something, I'm winning. Don't come for me and make me put in my sweat and I don't get nothing from it. Nah, man, I don't have time for that.
Scorpio season in the building. She dropped, man. Gee whiz. Marilyn, come through, Marilyn. Come through, Marilyn. She threw it. She threw in some Spanish in there. English on us. Pure New Yorker. Pure New Yorker right there.
Very
wow.
true.
Wow.
Yeah.
We sleeping. We should have been had Marilyn on the show, man.
That's what Betty kept telling me. Like, when you gonna get Marilyn on the show?
Wow, Marilyn, you looking to come join us for season 3?
I'm ready.
Man, I'm ready. Talk about spicy. That's what's up. Eric, did you protest? You was gonna ask me the same thing. What was you gonna ask? E, go ahead.
Nah, so I want to ask you directly, my brother, based on what we just defined as a protest. Are you a sucker for not protesting?
Wait a minute.
Are you a sucker for not?
You first have to say we have to first say, did I even protest or not? Yeah,
you a sucker for not? I tell you what, it's
just a general question. Just a general question. Yeah, you a sucker for not protesting. Yes.
Hold on, though. Make sure you understand something. Like, it's always something that somebody feel like you should be protesting about that you're not.
Facts.
Remember that.
Facts,
so you might, even if you did protest, the couple of things that you didn't protest about, are you a sucker for that? That's what I want to know.
No. I don't know. Your question is kind of double loaded today. That's kind of a double loaded question. So one, you a sucker for not protesting. You a sucker for not standing up for the injustices that's happening to our people. Yes. If you black and you ain't stand up for that, by Marilyn from the chef from Brooklyn, New York, from the Bronx's definition, if you didn't stand up and resist in some capacity, you a sucker. Yes.
Okay.
You a sucker, like a sucker MC. You a sucker for not protesting if you didn't stand up to resist some of the bullshit that has been occurring in this country for as long as we've been here. I said that.
Okay. 100%. Okay. All right. So we've established that you are a sucker if you don't stand up. Now, what I want to talk about is what are the variety of ways that a person can protest, right? So Marilyn was talking about, so her whole life to me represents a protest, even if she wasn't out on the street holding it down, but just the things that she's doing. But I know there's some people that like, if you're not out there holding the sign and beefing with the police, you're not protesting. How do you all feel about, like, let's talk about what are some ways that you can really resist and get some results and impact some change out here?
Yeah, well, I go, you know, Marilyn, you are our guest today, and the people are loving you right now. So I'll digress. Go ahead, Marilyn. Answer that question.
I appreciate that. If I can speak from New York City, There's something called build your block. I'm not saying it's a perfect space, right? But build your block is something that's held usually by the NCOs of each neighborhood community officer for your local precinct. So they hold, there's a precinct council meeting that happens every month. But then there's that build your block that you could totally Google and put in your zip code and you'll find your meetings. Okay. Build your block. It'll go by your by your district, your precinct. So even though one precinct could represent multiple little neighborhoods, because you know in New York it's big. So anyway, when you go there, you have the direct officers that rotate your community, because the police out here be trying to act like they huge and they got mad police to scare us, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? Every little area got like 5-6 cops that rotate. That's why it takes so long for them to come. It may be a little more than 5. You know, I'm exaggerating, but what I'm saying is that there's not a lot of police officers out on the streets. No, they're not. So when you go there, you get to meet them face to face. And then when people like me show up and a few of the elders, we get to make them uncomfortable, and not in a way where we're being derogatory or trying to shame them, because they are human beings. I love some Black men. Big up to Black men, because most of them a lot of them in my neighborhood are Black men, male cops. And then we do have female cops, but the ones that they usually send out to those events are the Black male cops, right? And the first thing is I don't believe in emasculation of men, because then I think that makes me a sucker. And I'm a purebred woman and that's not for me. So I come in love, but I also have a level of accountability that I want to make to anyone that puts on that uniform. If you are not accountable and you got an ego issue, and you got some mental health trauma that you have not addressed, then you need to go to therapy and get some other freaking help before you throw up your hands on my child, you know? And we will hear some coonish kind of behaviors. Like, you know, I just need all of you guys, the black face, talking about a black face, but I'm doing the voice. I need all of you guys to just go to school, cop comes, submit, have all your paperwork ready. And then it's time for me to talk. And they like, oh God, help us. Because I stir up the whole place and let them know that I am not your pet hamster that has to submit to you. Like, I pay taxes, my man. And if you come to my car, I might be nervous and forgot where my paperwork is, because I'm not used to guns being drawn on me for no reason. So slow down and please go back and take a class on emotional intelligence. Thank you. But you can't do that on the block, yelling at a cop while he's on duty. Right. You can't talk to them. And that when they got that uniform on the outside, they're another person. They got to put on this armor in this mindset for that moment, but you catch them when they're vulnerable. You get to have a conversation. They're not going to flip on you and cuss you out and try to attack you like they be doing in the streets, but they're going to tell you their side. Sometimes I'm having a hard day. You get to hear that vulnerable side. And you know, I'm in the middle of divorce. I'm in the middle of divorce and I had to take some time off work, and they told me I didn't have a choice. I had to go to work even though I was grieving. So now we're talking about their mental health being neglected. You start seeing them as a human, like, oh, so this black man right here is having an emotional moment and can't handle it, tells you that, and you still make him go to work and be out on these streets, you know? And I would not know that until I went to Build a Block, because then they open up more. So those are some of the ways. Go to your monthly council meeting. The people in the council, especially out here in New York, are a variety of cultures. And they say things like, you know, the blacks. I said, did they just say the blacks? And then now when you're walking by them in the street, you're like, I know you, the racist. I don't have to assume. I don't have to be on Instagram reposting a picture thinking I did something, but I can see who is impacting us, because local legislation is who creates these laws, who creates these policies and procedures that lock our ass up, or that allows somebody to bully your child, or that keeps police that have not had a physical or a mental health evaluation in years going in our high schools, that keeps metal detectors in our schools, that passes the budget. Who passes these school budgets? You think Trump is passing the school budget in your local community? No, Trump is making sure your kids get books. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to get a little bit more local. Local legislation are who create these laws, who put things in place, our judges. And that's why I'm on county committee. Anyone can try to join county committee. You get elected in, you get a few votes from your neighborhood, and then you're a part of county committee. and you're voting. If there's like public advocates, say they become the governor, the public advocate becomes a council person or joins Congress or becomes part of the Senate, right? So now that office is open. The county committee, they have to appear in front of the county committee, unless they out here in Brooklyn, mafia style, and they just get voted in by somebody else, which happens all the freaking time too. Otherwise, they have to come and stand before the county committee, and then we decide if we think they're qualified. You know what I mean? So it's still not the voice we want, but it's a much more intimate voice on what happens in your local community. Because people are not getting shot, like people who live in Brooklyn are not getting shot in DC in front of the White House. They're getting shot on their block. They're getting shot on their neighborhood, in their building. That's where we're getting killed. Kids are being attacked in their school, around the neighborhood. So that's where you must start, from my point of view. That's how you can help. Come to the PTA. If you cannot come to PTA meetings in the DOE, if your kid goes to a DOE school, donate some money and stop buying freaking red bottoms and Gucci bags. How much have you donated to the PTA? Even if your nephew goes to that school and not you, you don't even have no kids, but you riding around and getting it. Donate some money so that our voice can, when the Black women and men walk in the building, they're like, oh, those are the people that donate all the money. Shh. But when we show up, we don't have no economic power. No one gives a F what we say. Because it's all about the Benjamins. What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my layers. That's my layers. Sorry, I know I'm.
No, man, this is
great.
This is great. You know, these are conversations that we're not having, especially, man, just big time. We're just not. And we need somebody like you, Marilyn, to really kind of shake this tree and say, yo, people, wake up. Like, wake up. You have the capacity to make change now. You do not have to wait. Stop complaining and do something. And you've laid out 50 things to do. and this, you've given us 50 things to do. Even if you don't have a kid in the school, I probably go back. There are 50 things that you've said that we could do. It just in the short amount of time that you've been on them with us already. Amazing. Amazing.
Everybody out there, this is the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast.
Yes.
This is the season 2 finale. Are you a sucker for not protesting? We are here with our esteemed guest, Marilyn the Chef from the X, residing in Brooklyn. And this is a wonderful conversation. You know, Marilyn, Scott and I started this podcast for a simple reason. And that reason is we felt like Gen Xers like ourselves, and all of us are Gen Xers, like we didn't see ourselves really reflected strongly in the media. Every time I would go research anything that had to do with Gen X, it was always, oh, they're the lost generation, the latchkey kids, you know, they're just stupid and all of that. And it's like, we wanted to let people know, like, you don't have to only be a celebrity to have a voice as a Gen Xer. You know what I mean? Like, we hear from Jay-Z and Chris Rock and all these people, love all of them, right? They're Gen Xers or whatever. But like, what about the person that's just out here taking care of business on a day-to-day basis? What do they have to say? Which is why it's so important that you joined us today and all these people are getting a chance to hear you. But what I want to focus on right now is when we talk about protesting, one thing I never hear people use as a protest is the concept of having a Black family. Is that a protest?
Ooh-wee.
Having a Black family.
And before we get into this, I want to say this, right? So this is something that I talk to people about behind the scenes all the time. It's like I hear people talk about all this stuff and it's all so important, but I never hear, and to me, this is the critical piece that we have to master in order to move forward, that family structure has to be put back together and regained. I want to know from you all, like, do you think that we're too far gone to do that? Do you all feel it's a form of protest to even have a Black family?
Yeah, that's a great question, E. I would agree with you. I think it is a form of protest in saying that we're not willing to break up keeping us as a people together. We're not willing to shift away from that. Our protest is we feel so strongly about our community and our people that we're going to stay together no matter what.
Yes.
That is the protest. You know, look, we can be a little colorful on here, Marilyn. This is where I come to let my hair down. And you know, you can give the middle finger to the system by committing to the Black family. Sure.
Well, I'm laughing because I have so many layers, you know. I've been married twice. I am the most modern part of the I will leave a dude in 3.8 seconds, kind of shorty, and blame it 100% on me. I ain't even out here mad at men. Right. I love men, and that might be a problem also. Right. But I think men are amazing. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it real. So I have like struggles in love because I love very hard, going back to my Scorpio roots, and I'm very loyal and dedicated, but when you ain't offering me the same thing and you slip up a little bit, even though I will hold on, and I've had 2 very long-term relationships, I kind of get out mentally. And with my last one, because I didn't have, like, part of the reason I have my business is because I had infertility. So my first marriage, I was in my 20s and I married a Black minister, and it was challenging for me because I know I needed that spiritual, I'm not religious anymore, but I needed that grounding at that time in my life because I was a hot goose out in these streets. And I'm not talking about being a hoe and stuff like that. I'm talking about, there was no grounding.
Your spice level, if I think you spicy now, in your 20s.
In my 20s. My ex-husband used to, like, we with the Lord, and I used to tell my dad, this dude is crying, son. Yo, I can't remember no dude crying. And my dad would be like, daughter, I cry with my wife. Men could cry with their wife. I'm like, nah, man, I'm out. I can't do this. And it was horrible. That was literally, as a 41-year-old woman, that was horrible. I should have been there for him. At least I learned, you know? So I think it's very valuable to have a Black family. I have 3 small children, a 9-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old, all girls. And I try to give them a good example. They have only seen me date one person since my separation 4 years ago. Their father and I do not have the best relationship, but I will not own that. I will not own that because I promise you, Marilyn's an honest person, and I have tried, and it has been very challenging. It's been very challenging because we don't get along, and we're very strong people. And as you can see, I'm a very strong person, and I don't like repetitive behavior. If you keep hurting me, I can't keep forgiving you. And so that hurts me. But at the same point, I still send my kids with him. I still make an effort. I still got an iPad so my daughter can call, because you're not touching my phone. I don't even want his voice to be near me. And I'm gonna keep it 100. But my daughters deserve a father because I had a father. And it mattered. I called my dad crying, cussing the whole world out. As a grown woman, I can't imagine my daughters not having that man in their life. So I'm not a selfish person. So it's challenging. So that's how I try to keep the Blackness hold on. I'm currently 6 months pregnant and single. So, you know, and I don't say that often because as a Black woman and a 41-year-old Black woman, our generation got shamed out our brains, man. These new groups can literally show up and say they are a butterfly and be growing wings, and everybody's down with them. Oh my God, she identifies as a butterfly. I'm not trying to play nobody, but I'm just saying.
It's real. That's real.
We could not come to the room any way but perfect, and that's what has happened to this generation Xers, because we had to make up for so much. The generation of the baby boomers was trying their best to prove that we good. See, look at this example, and that was a lot of pressure on us. So for me to say I'm 41 with 3 kids, and you know how easy it's for someone to say, well, you're gonna be alone, and I'll be like, maybe you're gonna be alone, but I'm too cute to ever be alone, bro. Like, I ain't got no problem. I got 99 problems, a man ain't one. So
wow, Marilyn is in the building.
But I have in this process, because, you know, I give a testimony all the time about business, how it's like birthing a baby. And this baby, y'all, as y'all know, is going to come out, right? Regardless, no matter what I do or how it comes out, this baby has to come out. So if I give that testimony, I started during this pregnancy to look at that in my relationships. Like, this has to happen. You love companionship. You're a great woman. I am a loyal ride or die. I'll help you write your business plan. We can go do this. Let's travel. I'm free spirited, but I seem to choose people who I kind of may not like in the same way. And then I don't have to really, it's like a setup, but this is when you have to really evaluate yourself. I said, how can I bring a long-term relationship into my home now? Now that I have 4 daughters, I'm going to have 4 daughters. How can I bring a long-term relationship here? So I have to work on Marilyn. And I saw you're setting yourself up. You're picking people that you know good and well. They ain't gonna think you, they ain't gonna be able to handle you. They're like, this chick got a new vision every 6 months. I make it happen though, but everyone can't handle that. That's too much for some people. Just want to live the little house on the prairie life, and that ain't Marilyn. You know what I mean? I ain't no little house on the prairie kind of woman, you know. And that's what I had to come to terms with. Who is Marilyn? Do you like her? Do you want her to stick around? Okay, so make sure you ask and attract someone who can like Marilyn, not come here to fix Marilyn, heal Marilyn, because Marilyn is whole, 14 years of therapy. I put in the work, but someone who come in up, like bring light, can lift you, can show you even better way. And I have not come across, you know, and I also don't, I'm gonna just say this. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm gonna just tell you this, since y'all got me confessing my whole love life.
Come through.
You know, I don't really date men my age. You know, I don't be into no 50-year-old men, like 42, 48. They don't like me. I'm too much. They want, and it's like they say, I know I meet guys, they're like 50, they dating 30-something-year-olds. And they be like, but you act like you in your 30s, but isn't that who you date? I may have the energy of a 28-year-old, but I have a mind of a grown woman, because I've been paying rent in my own apartment since I was 17 years old, and I'm stable. It's very different, but I love to go out and dance at the same time. And a woman in her 40s, since this is money, sex, and Generation X, a woman in her 40s at her highest of her sexual peak. That's when we hit our peak scientifically. Not exactly men, but women hit their peak between like 38 and 48. We're on fire. And some people in 52 ain't on fire like my fire. And I'm not trying to get bored as a grown woman. Like, nobody got time for that. So that I'm affirming, you know, if I want to date someone who's 35, I could find someone who's 35 and stable and can keep up with me and successful. Because when I say I want to date someone 30, like, but you, one of Eric or Big Stu could be like, yo, I got me this beautiful 30-year-old woman. She's powerful. Let me say I got a 30-year-old man.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I do have a 30-year-old woman that's powerful. Like, me and Stu don't date women our age. I mean, I get it. I understand it. I understand it totally. But that's the thing too. I want to talk about. It's like, I feel like Generation X, do we have problems when it comes to relationships? Because I've had my share of problems too. Like, we just feel like we consistently want to deal with people that we know are not good for us. I don't know what every Generation X I talk to, or is that just people?
Yeah, I think Marilyn hit it on the head. Like, we're the last generation that we didn't have freedom for how you had to show up. You had to show up this way. And it was the way that our parents said you had to show up. You had to juxtaposition as everything was okay. We were the last generation of that. So forget what your emotional state was. Forget what you better show up like you got it all figured out, and don't embarrass me, and put it together and go to school and get a job and hold it together. There is nothing else. And now we got a new generation that you can identify as a basketball if you want to. I'm a basketball. You know, I'm human, but I'm a basketball. Refer to me as, you know, basketball. You know.
But I wonder, are there relationships? So you're a basketball, right? Is
I'm a
the
basketball.
basketball's relationship any better than ours?
you know, but you don't get to judge me because you can't judge me. So keep your judgments for yourself. So take me as I am today. Tomorrow I'm going to identify as soap, you know, whatever.
And then I'm going to judge you because you don't you don't want to be soap. See, that's
right.
That's
a
the
real
hypocrisy.
thing.
That's the hypocrisy. So I don't care anybody. You can come to my class. You can come to a panel with me. You could be man, woman, he, male, she, male, whatever. I don't care. But then you'll tell me who I gotta identify. I gotta use pronouns. I have to. That's not fair. That's not equality.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, look, we got comedians. Comedians can't even tell real jokes anymore because they in their feelings about the jokes nowadays. It's like, it's crazy. So it's not us, bro. It's what society has placed upon us. It's a little bit, but society has placed
it's a little bit.
Place some of this on us.
Okay, let's I think Generation X, we have a problem when it comes to relationships. We gotta admit it.
Let me go to some of the comments. Ursula Phoenix says, as Gen Xers, we have a strong role identity in a world that has none. It's sad that love has no body parts. That's confusing, is what she says. My man Daryl K. Roberts calling from Brooklyn as well. Chiming in, he says we got to get him on the show. Going back a little bit, Myla Robinson says economic protesting is a form of protesting, and they love you, Maryland. They love you. Maryland is on fire. Maryland is 100% New Yorker, my girl.
No doubt.
Maryland is right. You know, wow, Maryland. I never looked at it like that before when you were talking about other ways to protest. Degrees don't build legacies is what Betty said. I mean, it's on fire in here, Maryland. This is awesome from Rochelle Green. It is absolutely on fire. People got something to say.
Yes. We got to sit up in here. That's good. That's what I love about having these conversations. Like, we don't know who these conversations might reach. You know what I mean? So thank you for coming on this show. So I guess Maryland and I are agreeing that Gen Xers have a problem with relationships. Big Stu, I don't think he really going for that.
Well,
but at the end of the day, huh?
I'm a divorcee. I'm a divorcee.
Okay.
I'm in the second. I got a new family. You know, me and my lady got 1-year-old twins. As I approach 50, I'll be 50 in less than 5 months with 1-year-old. So. Wow. You know, I'm feeling you, Marilyn. I dig it. I'm right where you at. It's like, what? You know what I mean? We here. But I think I understand. Right. Right. But I think I get it. What I'm saying about relationships is like, no, I think, we know Generation X knows what it takes to be in successful relationships. I think we know it. Showing up is another thing. Executing is another, but I think we know from our ancestors, they've taught us how to be in successful relationships. Whether or not we do it is another thing, but we know better. We know better for sure. We know. We know
need to have an episode on that because I'm about to disagree with you on that. The people before me definitely didn't know how to have a good relationship. Are you kidding me?
Well, that is contradictory.
That's why I'm having problems now. You know what I mean?
That is contradictory.
No way. But I get it.
But this ain't the relationship episode. But they showed us some bullshit. They showed us some bullshit, but they knew better.
They did show commitment. They showed a commitment that we see. They didn't necessarily have a good relationship, but they were committed. That's how
stressed out. They stressed out, cussing. He don't do this. He don't do this. Right. I can't stand her. They make me sick. I'm miserable. I'm sad, but I'ma stay.
Sleeping in two separate rooms.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, sleeping in two separate rooms and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good relationship. And we all have seen that too many times. From that generation. So. But I mean, I do want to end this with, I think that the family structure has to be a critical part of the equation as we move forward into this protest. I do not protest in terms of going out you know, on the streets and all that. It's not that I wouldn't, but I kind of feel like my whole life is a protest. It's the way that I approach things. Like I always talk to people about the fact that I love Black women. And a lot of people that I deal with, they really, I don't want to judge them, but like they could care less about a Black woman. That's just the reality. I love Black women. And I always say that all the time. And to me, that's a protest. You know what I mean? Because I'm not acting, that's for real. Big Stu is the same way. We love Black women. That's a protest. We are big on business and commerce and helping people build wealth versus just walking around acting like you got money. We all did that when we were younger. We were the masters of acting like we had money and we didn't have nothing. You know what I mean? So that's how we protest. Taking care of our kids on a day-to-day basis and making sure they have the knowledge to show and prove who they are in society. That's a protest. You know what I mean? So that's how I get busy with my protesting on a daily basis. And for you being from the BX, Maryland, I want to say this while I'm on the show. Some of my best friends in the world are from the Bronx and Brooklyn. And I find the people from the Bronx to be some of the most genuine human beings on the planet Earth. Because one thing about a person from the Bronx, we could go to California. If you got a person from the Bronx with you, they're going to hold you down. Period. You know what I mean? Period, point blank. And I love that because everybody's not going to do that. You know what I mean? So I wanted to shout out the Bronx and I wanted to shout out Brooklyn. Before we leave, though, can I ask you this question? This is kind of off topic. I know for a fact that the Bronx and Brooklyn are very different. How is it for a person that's a native of the Bronx to be living in Brooklyn? Like, was that a transition period that you had to go through? Was it easy? How did that look?
I honestly have two friends, and I've lived in Brooklyn for about 13 years. I have two people that I would consider my friends. 13 years in this borough. Because when you hit on the nose about the Bronx, especially in the Generation X, we show up different. Brooklyn is, I feel like, is a very individual space. New Yorkers is considered individualized, right? Like we're individual. I'm an individual. We do have that energy, but when it's something about growing up in the poorest congressional district, you know, it's something about growing up there. Like you would have six-figure families living in the hood because New York is expensive. Like you could be double income, make sure they're making six figures and their kids go to good schools, but we still gotta live in the hood building because it's just to get a house out here is millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So in the Bronx, we struggled together. During the crack era, I could tell you 100% of why you know people, the person from the Bronx is like that. We still didn't have to lock our doors. And it was straight crackheads, but they wouldn't rob the people they knew. They would go to the next neighborhood. Out here in Brooklyn, they'll rob their freaking neighbor. They'll rob anybody. And I'm not trying to play all of Brooklyn, but that's much more known than in the Bronx. You ain't gonna sleep with so-and-so on the fifth floor's husband, because you know we gonna rag you. The whole block is ragging you. You not gonna live on this block, shorty, sleeping with somebody's husband. We ragging you, we dogging you out. You ain't getting away with it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be socially correct. And I feel like the word is called accountability. We had accountability. And when you have accountability, no matter what, you're gonna hold people down. I'm the oldest child, so I'm always accountable in a nurturing person. And but I noticed in Brooklyn, some shady motherfuckers out here. They shady, they show up like they're glorious, but they not gonna ride or die for you. They not. They want it's always a compromise you gotta make for people out here. They're not just willing to give up self once in a while. They don't understand that empowers you, because I sow seeds all the time, and I feel like that's why I've never had nothing. I never not have a contract. Contracts come into my email, not because I got the master marketing plan, but I sow seeds in the ground of love and family and community that no one sees. I constantly help. Out of my 5, I give 3. That's how I was raised in the Bronx. Like, if you got $5, you give up 3. I'm not going to be in a group with my friends like, wow, so you can't come out to dinner with us? None of my friends would. We going to dinner. You coming, duh. We got you. Everyone will chip in.
Yeah.
Not in Brooklyn. You can't afford your own? Swinging shit that ain't even yours. Get the hell out of my face. But anyway, let me stop because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm being
I
well
can't really
behaved.
say nothing about that.
No, I'm not, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is when you amplify, they amplify artificials. What I'm trying to say, you amplifying shit that ain't even real. Like you said, come showing up like you got all of this and you don't. No, if we all ate together, we will win. That's why some blocks will look better than other blocks in the Bronx, because then all the older elders will put their money together and be like, those kids don't got shoes. Ain't no kid on my block gonna not have shoes. Ain't no kid on our block gonna have no coat. And it just didn't matter. But I feel like Brooklyn is very competitive. It's very about, let me show out. You know what I'm saying?
It's different.
Brooklyn niggas know how to play. Pack of 600 getting crazy paid. They getting crazy paid because they shooting their own brother. You know what I mean? Taking his money from his sneaker box. Now let me stop because I live in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I'm not.
Hey, Brooklyn is dope. Brooklyn is in the building.
Brooklyn is a beautiful place, but it has transformed.
Yeah.
It is not it is not the struggles of back then. It is a very shiny place now. Don't let people get on. There's still Brownsville, there's still East New York.
Yeah.
But Fort Greene is gone. The Fort Greene is gone. It is gentrified.
Whatever. I'm talking about the Fort Greene I know. The Fort Greene I know.
Totally different, man. Totally.
It's a whole nother place here, and I feel I live here because I wanted something different. The Bronx is very Latin, and I wanted to be more. The one thing about Brooklyn is Black-owned businesses and Black people, and that's why I live in Brooklyn, because I want to raise my daughters around Black people, and I want them to walk into stores. Their pediatrician is a Black woman. Their dentist has a huge practice in Park Slope, Black woman owned. I can't find that in the Bronx. Herbal stores that I buy products from, Black owned. Oil shops, not like some foreign culture, but Black American owned. Like that is what I want my daughters to be able to see, and they have that here in Brooklyn. They do not have a variety of that in the Bronx, and so I can't be there anymore because I'm not going to raise my daughters to think that we don't have no economic power, or that if they don't see it, we don't believe it. You know what I mean?
Right, definitely. Yeah, no question. And all my Brooklyn, one of my best friends in the world is from Brooklyn, so I'm gonna just say this because I don't want to get the phone call later. But like, Brooklyn will hold you down too. But I understand your point. I have to say that Brooklyn will hold you down.
Two great friends that live in Brooklyn. They are my girls, and I love them. But I'm saying, from my years here, it was very challenging to. You see how I show up? They can't handle this because I'm like this, but I'm very intelligent and stable and successful. They can't handle. They still, especially in our generation, they still think intelligence is that I must come and show up like this and sit and explain to you the value of this Black woman. I'm not doing that. I don't need to be somebody else. I like my culture. So that's the energy here. In our generation, so I haven't been able to rock with as many people, but I have found my I have my same friends. I think that's another thing with us, Generation X. I have the same friends since high school, and I think we just scared of new people. I don't know what they did to us.
No doubt. Yeah, it's safer that way. Definitely.
I have a couple of questions as we begin to wrap up. Marilyn, again, you've been absolutely phenomenal on the show. One of the things one of my takeaways is that I heard you say that you are involved. It seems like that you might even be involved at some level politically, whether it's a PTA or a school, you're a teacher, and so what might you say to the millennials that I am defining as tend to be a little ratchet? Like, how do you, what might you say to them to get them to be more involved and more, to play more of a role in how they might improve their environments or their communities? How do you get, like, what might you say to them and get them to have that mind shift or change up to add more value to their community?
The first thing I want to say is, because it's a generation that came from us, you know what I mean? And the people in front of us, but you're an average 30-year-old, 32-year-old has a 60-year-old parent, you know what I mean? Like, or 50-some-year-old parent, depending on how people had kids back then. I want to just say that when you don't show up when you don't walk in the room, what do they call that? Marching band style, where everybody you got is winning, kind of shows me that you whack, that you ain't really got nothing, and that you're insecure. So y'all like to show off and show out and be very much, it's about me. But when you don't, I know some 30-some-year-olds who show up like a marching band and everyone in their team is winning. That is where you see value. Value comes in numbers. Value is not one person doing something big and they made it out and you bragging about it all the time. That's corny.
Okay, but let's talk about that for 1 second before you go to the next point. Let's talk about showing up like you winning. Like, because to showing up like you women to the audience that I'm talking about may be showing up with the red bottoms and the weaves and the bag. I'm winning. Can you define, before you go to your next point, define winning? Well, what does it mean to have something? What are you talking about?
Okay, so I will use this a moment I had at a women's group in Medgar Evers College asked me to come speak, right? And you see how I look, and then she was like, can you specifically speak about vanity and hair? I'm like, I have fair skin, I'm Black, and I have my hair cut off. Really, you trying to get me jumped? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do this, but this is how I put it, because I'm not trying to play nobody. I'm trying to tell people that if you're insulted because I say, when you wake up at 6 a.m., you are the sexiest, most beautiful human I've ever seen, and then you think that once you put loads of coating on you, that's when now you're blinging, that scares me. That connects to mental health. That connects to how I see you on the outside. Like, wait, let me sit back and say, you're like, you know, those videos they did. You know how they would do the video and it'd be a time lapse. First they'll have a bonnet and in the end they would have the different outfit and makeup, and then they were like beautiful. You know those things they were doing on social media, the video. So I was like, I told my friends we should do a video with us with our hair like and makeup on, then wipe it off, and in the end we in our workout outfit. Like now I'm beautiful. Now I'm pretty. You know,
I saw one like that. I saw somebody do one. I saw some people do one like that a couple years ago.
That's how. And when I broke it down in that term, I'm like, I'm not here trying to play you, but I was in a room with about 25 women, and only the 2 Latin and 1 white woman were the only people that had their natural hair. That's a lot of people making an investment in an industry that you don't populate and you don't dominate and you ain't making no money from. And the hair itself is chemically treated, right? And it's heavily chemically treated, and you wonder why you're getting breakouts. And it's attacking our skin. The chemicals that they use on it are not being tested on Black women. Most of these are being tested on foreign cultures or European males. So none of these chemicals are even on animals. They're not tested on our skin. So we just have to I look at everything in layers, you know, and I compare it to a relationship. Now, if a man come into your house and he offers you everything that's artificial, but does not care if you're sick, does not care if you need a drink of water, does not care if you need food, buy your car, don't care if your mama's sick, don't care if you're tired, don't care if you need a hug or need to be touched, don't want to have sex with you, don't want to touch you, don't want to engage with you, just want to give you some cash so you can look nice. Would you think that's a valuable relationship? So what is your relationship with makeup and outfits? And it doesn't offer your life any extension. You're showing up and acting like we under the Jim Crow laws, like you got to show up with all this stuff to win at a job, and you the one with the degree. It makes no sense. You have to go to school for all these years and still cover up yourself. And then you make fun of the Hasidic Jews, but at least they're doing it for a religion that's been embedded in them. But you doing it just because you don't like yourself. Come on, how dare society try to make you feel like you're not amazing when we are ageless? We have amazing skin. We don't age. Our hair is thick until we mess with it. Our hair is so powerful. We the sexiest things on earth. We could gain 30 pounds and no one notice. Another person gain 30 pounds, they be looking like a hot SpongeBob mess. But I'm gonna stop.
I wanted you. No, you answered my question. You answered.
Sorry,
I just wanted to. No, I want.
Because
no, that's good.
I really want us. And then the second thing I want to say is I'm just not going to talk about 30-some-year-old Black men because I like y'all. I ain't talking about you, baby. Give me a call, Marilyn. No, I'm joking. No, I want to say for the men, you are millennial men. Y'all have a lot more vulnerability, and I applaud that. But make sure we understand your hormones and the balance of estrogen and testosterone, because at times it's a little too much, especially if y'all want to date older women, and especially if you want to lead. You can't lead if you're leading with your mama's issues. Get help. Right. If you're going to be vulnerable and say, my mental health, have you ever been to therapy? Because I hate when people say they mental health and they never been helped. Did you? I've been to therapy. So did you do the work? Because I can't keep hearing you talk about mental health and you're not doing anything. And this is what I've seen. Like, if we're the millennials always talking about vulnerability, how I feel, emotions, but how many of them will actually go do the work? Are y'all signed up for therapy in a consistent, not for 3 days, not for 6 weeks, but for a year, especially with some of the traumas they've endured. So I'm grateful for all the beauty that they show up with, but please back it up. Back that thing up. You got to back it up. I need you to back it up, because you're going to enter a room where people like us are going to hurt your feelings, and you're going to have to be able to not tear us down. And then I'm going to close. Let me just say this. When we're dealing, I don't like to say white supremacy, because I don't think no white person is supreme over me, my kids, or anyone out there. I don't think they privileged, none of that. But I'm going to say, under this white culture, we have been robbed of our rights, right? We know this. So now y'all fight for rights. Y'all have a voice. You want to be non-binary. You want to wear your hair the way you want. You want to talk about mental health, right? But y'all still the most judgmental, in debt, mad degrees, and can't pay your bills, cars that you can't pay for generation. So if you're going to get that free, really get free. Because now you come and try to suppress me. You try to suppress Abuela because she still believes in Jesus, and now you don't, and you are African spiritualist, and I'm grateful for you, but why Abuela got to get shamed? Because that's exactly what white oppressors did to us. So you're just repeating the behaviors of your oppressors. You're not doing it in a better way. You're not shining a light. You're still judging people. You're still hurting people. You're still telling people, this is the way because we made it. We said so. What difference is that than the colonialism, right? That's all I'm saying. If we're going to show up and do better, let's really do better, not fake like we are.
Let's do better and not fake like we are.
Let me give it to her, dog, because she just dropped a few bombs.
Few bombs. A few bombs and too many fuel.
Maryland in the middle.
I love you, millennial men.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be in your DMs later on.
No, they're gonna be definitely.
You know, they'll get with you. What a great show today!
What a great show! Wow!
So much. This is gonna be one that I definitely go back and rewatch immediately, just to catch everything that we talked about. Thank you. So, Marilyn, we would love to have you back on in season 3. The next time we see you, I want to talk about food, because we didn't really get into that part of you, but I know you're like really, really into food, and we want to talk about food and like trying to do better as men with food and all of that. So if you could come back, we would love that.
Love to have you
back. Absolutely. And before I come back, while you're waiting for me, y'all can go directly to divineappetite.com. I have smoothie boost there. I even have some for men. I have one called Nonstop for our Generation X, which helps with your libido. It is unisex, naturally supports you. I have Fertile Guy. Some people are dealing with infertility that are men. And I have a smoothie booster with teaspoon in a smoothie to help your life. So go check it out. We even have face cleansers. And I'm grateful for great skin because I am aging. And I'm also a Black woman, thank goodness. So just check out divineappetite.com and you can hear about a lot of what we do. Follow me anywhere on social media at Marilyn the Chef, and go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get my numbers up because I want to go live and get paid. You know, it's about the Benjamins. You know, I'm tired of doing stuff. I'm tired of doing Instagram for free lives. You know what I mean? On Instagram, they don't try to give us no money, yo. But at least on YouTube, you can actually make something happen. So if you are a YouTuber and you want to listen to some deep videos, go check out my YouTube channel. I'm putting in some exclusive videos on there. And there goes my entrepreneur side. I'm done. And I want to say thank you so much, by the way. Thank you, Betty. My Betty, such a beautiful woman. She's just so loving from the first day I met that woman. She's just a really good person. And I just got to give her that for a moment. And then I want to say thank you to these two amazing Black men, respectful, valuable, raw. We really need that. You know, you give a great impression of the Generation X men, which is your freedom is so impressive to me. And I'm so grateful to have shared a space with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Coming from a fellow Gen Xer. Thank you so much. And a strong Black woman.
Sorry about that, E. My bad, bro.
No, we good. So yeah, thank you for that. So we're gonna wrap up, you all.
Thanks, man. We're gonna E, we got some stuff to wrap up, or we closing it out right now?
No, we got some other stuff to wrap up.
Thank you, Marilyn. We're gonna holler at you. We'll stay in touch with you, all right?
Thank you. Marilyn the Chef, y'all check her out. IG, Facebook, YouTube.
Awesome.
Wow, what a great conversation.
Indeed, man. Indeed. Wow, that was heavy, man. That was great.
That was heavy. I gotta go back and listen to that one today.
Yeah. That was exciting, man. That got my blood flowing, man. That was great. That was good.
That real Gen X conversation.
And Brooklyn and Bronx combo. That was great, man. Dang, good luck, Betty. Thanks, Betty.
Yes, Betty is a connector. So you want to get connected to the right people, Betty. And you know what? Nelson Career Curators, and they've sponsored some of our episodes, but check out Nelson Career Curators. You want to get connected to the right people to move your situation forward. Betty Nelson and Nelson are the people to talk to. So do that. All right, we got a couple things we got to do. So are we going to run through our actual? We did a little bit of actual facts. But are we going to run through our characters from corporate today?
Man, let's. We may as well, right?
I know we way over time.
We way over, man. But I think we can make it work.
It's the season finale.
It's the season finale. We go a little extra, man.
Okay, all right. So here's our characters from corporate submission. And if we got any new MSG family today, characters from corporate is really just an outlet for us to talk about situations that we've all experienced in corporate. Sometimes it focuses on a specific person that you consider a character. That person might be yourself. It might be your boss. It could be anybody. But we want you to all to keep sending us these stories. So today, our story is, this man says, I'm a 38-year-old Black male. I live in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
All right. Shout out to Houston. I'm an engineer. I graduated from an HBCU. I don't want to say which one. That's fine. Currently work for Fortune 500. Don't want to say which one. That's fine. And he says, I have gotten into a habit of bullying my coworkers, especially my direct reports. And recently, one of the people that I had been bullying tried to commit suicide.
Oh,
come on, brother. Come on now. He says, I don't know if it directly had anything to do with me, but I'm sure I didn't help. I realize I want to change after this situation, but wonder how I got to this point. I think it was originally me being on the offensive, trying to avoid being a victim myself when I originally came into corporate. I am definitely a character from corporate.
Wow.
That's tough.
Sorry to hear that, Houston. Houston, we have a problem, but I'm glad you self-identified, brother. Man,
H-Town, that's rough, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
man. Bullying people on the job and this person committed suicide. Well, I would really hope it wasn't directly related to you.
You hope not, but he feel it. He know what he feeling. You know, he had something to do with it. He might not have been the thing, but he didn't stop it. You know, he added on. So that's sorry to hear that, brother. I hope you find your peace and atone, man. But this was the first start in sharing your story and admitting it, man. I hope you don't.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, but you know, you got to do better, brother. I will ask you, Stu, quickly, have you bullied or been bullied in corporate?
No, not in corporate. Probably have been bullied by the establishment a few times. I know I have. Pushed around like a pinball in a pinball machine. I've been there. But I've never bullied anybody in corporate or workplace environment at all. No.
Okay, that's good to hear.
How about you, man?
I've been very arrogant in corporate environments. I don't think I've bullied anybody. I'm, pretty humble guy at this point in life, but I've been an a-hole. But I don't. That's just not my style to bully people. So nah.
Yeah, I don't even I used to think that I had to be an a-hole to be successful.
Yeah.
I don't even believe that anymore. So I'm not even interested in being an asshole, man. I prefer to be a little bit more humble, man. To these
same here. I think we were all scared, trying to cover up fears and insecurities that we had. So okay. Well, H-Town, I hope you get some help for that, and thank you for sharing. Though I like the rawness of the story. I think that's a little deeper than we probably would have expected when we thought this type of a segment, but we want you all to keep sending in those stories so we can get some perspective on corporate characters from corporate. All right, I think we've taken care of all of our responsibilities. My co-captain let me know though.
Yeah, well, we normally would do a song. We would feature a song from Music's Pool, but what we're gonna do, the song that I wanted to feature is by Not Them, KNOTTHM, the husband-wife duo that are on Pool, highlighted on Pool. I'm gonna save that to the post-production of the audio version.
Okay.
That you can catch at buzzsprout.com/moneysexgenx. So that'll be ready in a few days.
Okay,
so
cool.
We're gonna highlight them. We're still gonna highlight them, and that's what's up, man. Man, what a great show! What a really great show, man.
What a great show! You got any closing thoughts on this season 2 that we just wrapped?
We'll reflect. I mean, I think overall, I'm glad we got through it. I mean, I'm glad we keep pushing. And, I guess it's not really a closing thought for me, but it may be a closing thought for everybody who will watch this. If you get to this part and listening, pursue your dreams. Go after it. Don't let anybody get in the way. It's going to get tough. It's not always easy. It's not always sweet. But don't let that stop you. Do not let it, even when you want to give up, don't give up. Absolutely, man. Keep going. Just stop stopping. Quit quitting. Keep going, man. Just keep going. That's my takeaway from season 2.
All right. Well, my last comment is this, doing a podcast is a lot of work as one could imagine. And I don't know, hopefully you won't mind me sharing this, Stu, but Stu and I, our energy really hasn't been that great this season. I wouldn't say we put on a good show, but when we're talking in the pregame, we're like, man, this week was crazy and all that. So to Big Stu's point, it's even though we had a lot of adversities in our personal lives this season, we still showed up each week and tried to put out a really dope show for you all. So hopefully, you all appreciate that. But we had a rough 7 weeks, you know what I mean? So we're gonna get through it. But season 3 is gonna be, hopefully we get to a better energy as far as our personal situations. But thank you all for showing up, and we'll see you in season 3.
See you in season 3. Peace.
Peace.